we've got to remember that throwback to our finale podcast where Vince decided to throw Jake Rawson's list physically into the trash.
He's been waiting 8 months.
So there is a
payback.
There's a history.
Payback.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 49 of the Gollum's Gamers podcast, where today we're back with another one of our event preview episodes. And this time we are going to be covering Ardacon, which I'm pretty sure most people listening will at least have heard of before, as it's the biggest MESBG event in the world, which is being held this week in Manchester, England. Now, for the Spotify listener, tonight I'm joined by Ali, Jay, and Ash, and a very special guest.
Hi.
Who may be the captain of our rivals in the GBHL, but he did win Ardacon last year on his way to winning the GBHL 2023 season. So we thought this would be a perfect episode to get him on for. It's Jake Rawson.
Is it a pantomime?
So thank you very much for coming on, Jake. This is obviously your return from the race last year, which I'm sure our viewers have heard, publicised over the years now.
Yeah, Farmer's knee still hasn't recovered from that race.
It was a long old episode, wasn't it, Jake?
It was a good bit of fun. Yeah, was that the last time I was on? It was like a lifetime ago now.
That was in like November time last year, so just before the finale. It was in the build up. The race was heating up, as it were.
To be fair, if you're a viewer from far away, you might not know how the race concluded. So maybe we should say what actually happened. Who
Jake.
Who won? Well, I mean, we already gave that.
Well, I did say that. I did. Jake did win the league, so there you go. But you can go and check out the race for the detailed breakdown of every event that they attended.
You can actually find a recording of the final match of the GBHL finale on the Seven City Crusaders YouTube channel.
Woo! Oh,
no way!
Oh wait, it doesn't exist.
Oh no.
Generally got a bunch of nerds' hopes up then.
Yeah.
So as always, you can find us on Instagram and Spotify by following the links in the description down below. I'll also link the Seventh City Instagram as well, because you guys are nice. So shout out to the Seventh City crew.
If you are following Instagram, you may have seen some epic victories for the Gollum's Gamers this last weekend.
You wouldn't have, because I was not sent any photos to Instagram.
Well, but you may be by the time this goes out, Elliot. Come on.
Maybe, but if send me some pictures, then I'm not going to ask. I'm not sure if so I thought if anyone sends me a picture, I'll put it on there. But I didn't.
Do you want me to send you a picture, Elliot?
Someone send me a picture.
I mean, I wasn't at the event, but I can send you a picture.
It's not Ali.
So we all send him a picture.
Yeah.
Can you just take a selfie right now?
Go on, Ash. So for our usual event preview episodes, we would usually cover some statistics for the event, but we have no stats tonight, unfortunately. So we'll be giving an overview of Ardacon itself. Then we'll discuss some of the lists from members of the team and people that we know who are going before ranking all those lists in a tier list at the end, as usual. I'm sure that notification was probably very loud.
That's all of us sending you pictures.
I'm sure it was. Whose is more cursed? Okay, Ali's is definitely the most cursed for the
professionalism is on the floor.
That was very cursed there. Love to see that. I should probably put my phone on silent.
I like how Jay he's just got the perfect selfie pose, doesn't he?
The Spotify listeners are really missing out this episode. There's loads of interactive content going on. What else have I got?
Please send your pictures to the Gollum's Gamers Instagram account for to show on the next episode.
Or to the email.
Or send them in on Instagram.
Or send them into the email.
So,
I think so. One of the things, the reason you can't get the stats, you should mention, is because you can change your list up until the day. Is that correct, or the day before?
Well, no.
No, that's what I heard. But then someone told me that was incorrect.
I mean, officially, no, you can't.
Oh, okay.
But technically, you can.
But
once your list has been checked and approved, it then can't be changed again. You can change it until they've officially checked it.
So if your list hasn't been checked, which mine actually has been and approved, you then have to ask the ref to be able to unlock it.
Yeah,
but that can happen. So you could go the night before. You could go, oh, I want to change it, and then they just go.
I mean,
sure.
Depends on the reasoning, but yeah, if it's a disaster, then sure.
So that's kind of why getting stats would be a little bit difficult because of the check approval process.
Also, if you're going to get stats of James Clark, it will be like in a voice note message because he loves those things. He's on board with you, Ash, with voice note messages.
Oh, I do like a good voice note.
That would be hard for me to put into.
Elliot would just have like a 3-hour call sort of voice note going like, and there is another assault on Lothlorien.
I think we'll leave that then. So to get things started with an overview of the event, Ardacon, for those who aren't aware, draws people from all over the world really to the UK for a 5-day tournament, which actually contains 6 different actual events running alongside each other in Ardacon over those 5 days. So it's definitely quite a unique event sort of in that sense. So a quick rundown of what those events are for the Spotify listener. So on Wednesday, things kick off with a last chance qualifier for the Masters event, which is a 1-day event where the winner of that event will get a spot in the SBG International Masters, which is a 2-day event, which will be running on the Thursday and Friday of Ardacon, which is an invite-only event. Now, Jay and Jake here are both in attendance this year. Jake through winning the main event in Ardacon, as it were, last year. And Jay, you went into the West. Is it this year? It was the start of this year. You were mute. Yeah, the start of this year. Okay.
Yeah.
Jay wins into the West every year. So
yeah.
Whoa, he didn't win it the year I won it.
True that. Gollum's Gamers have won it every year.
To be fair,
most of the years.
That's what we like. And he actually came second this year as well. So
yeah, I'll let Jay take it. Because
does anyone know?
Share it again next year.
Does anyone know the setup of sort of how it works with people from different nations being invited to the Masters? I don't know how it works.
So there's things called Ardor Opens, which is each nation gets one. So into the West is the Welsh Open, Michael Bradford's event, which I'm not going to butcher the name of, is like the Irish Open.
Yeah.
And then there'll be Nova's the US Open, and the winner of each event gets invited to do the International Masters.
What is the English Open for Ardacon?
The Last Chance Masters at the moment. It used to be Desolation of Stockport, which was run by James Clark, but he hasn't run that in a few years. So, I mean, you could kind of say Into the West sort of has subbed in as like the sort of GB Masters, but I think officially it's still the Welsh Masters.
Then there's another spot as well if you win Ardacon as well. You just get invited.
Yeah. Or the Masters, I think you get a spot as well if you win.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice. So every other sort of like country in Europe and places that play SBG will have their own, open, as it were, to get an invite to the Masters.
Yeah. So sometimes it's not going to be like you could have like a Swedish guy representing or being the Masters for like the US because they happen to win that one. Yeah. So it's not necessarily an Englishman versus an Aussie versus like, I don't know,
whoever won
Dutchman. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's worth mentioning as well that people who've already qualified for the Masters can enter the Last Chance Masters qualifier. What happens if they win? I don't know. I assume they pass it down to the next person, but there's quite a few people going on Wednesday that have already qualified. So.
Oh, I see. That would be interesting if you come 5th and still qualify or something.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the last chance is basically to fill up to make a round number that works for the Masters format because they can't always guarantee like if 11 people or 17 or however many people are going to turn up.
Yeah. And Jay, I believe you came second at the Masters, didn't you? You did very well one year.
No, that was actual Ardacon, not the Masters.
No, I came third at the Masters one year.
Oh. Woo! I thought you came second at the Masters. I got that completely wrong then.
No.
The actual Ardacon. Gotcha.
I think I came 6th or something last year, but no.
Gotcha.
No, I narrowly missed out on winning. It was weirdly one of the easiest events I had up until like sort of. I think I got a draw, 2 draws in my last round, which were unlucky, or a draw. I could have won it with a round to spare, and then Evan Iverson had only rolled a 6 with his Witch King, but I'm over it. Don't worry, it's fine.
We can tell. So there are also 2 doubles events taking place. One is the World Doubles Championships, which is a 2-day event on the Thursday and Friday, along with the Masters. The other is just a 1-day event happening on the Friday. So I guess the idea here with having 2 doubles events is that there's a more and less competitive option, I guess. Do we?
There's more people who can't do. So Ardacon used to be just the Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And then the doubles was on the Friday. And then it kind of expanded and added extra days. And then, so the doubles became the Thursday and Friday. But because that's a lot more difficult for, especially UK players, let's say, to commit to doing 4 days, James did a 1-day double as well. So people could still do a doubles and like have a longer weekend, even if they can't commit to the whole week.
Yeah.
So, for example, I'm doing the doubles dash, but not the World Doubles Championships because I can't do the Thursday.
You are the prime candidate then for the doubles dash tournament happening on Friday. Lovely.
Also worth saying, World Doubles Champs is a 90, GBHL 90, and the doubles dash, I think, is a GBHL 80.
I left that out. I did not know that. I don't think it says that in the event pack.
There's a lot of things it doesn't say.
I had noticed that as well through my through combing through it. Yeah, but hey,
I think it does say on the Facebook page, to be fair. So
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So
and much to all the viewers' disappointment, not all of the Gollum's gamers are going to Ardacon this year.
I
know. Only the good ones.
For any
sadness.
Any
however,
listeners,
we endeavour to all go next year. So hopefully all of us will be there.
Yes, hopefully. Let's not commit to
fingers
that.
Crossed. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully. Yeah. But for any listeners that are going to Ardacon, the members of the team that are going to be there is going to be Adam, Vince, Ali, Jay, and Ben. So there is more than half of the team.
And Jake. I forgot we weren't saying that he's joining Gollum's Gamers
Ali.
next year.
We were talking about that after the
podcast. No, I've moved to Anglesey now, so I'm joining Team Diva.
You are a diva. So
True that. So moving on, there is then Chaos in Arda. Now, my knowledge on this is very limited, but it's running on the Friday, and then the final is on the Sunday.
This is such good fun. I've played Chaos in Arda. Not at Ardacon, obviously, but you basically have a deck of cards that give you TPs and different objectives and different random events that happen, and you kind of play cards and play the game, and it's a free-for-all. Dictated, like everyone has maelstrom rolls, but they're slightly altered. It's just it's literally chaos. It's not competitive in the slightest. It's just roll dice with loads of mates and drink beer and wait for cursed things to happen.
So it's essentially 4-way SBG. I think each person has a 400-point army from what I read in the pack.
Yeah, correct.
So that's interesting. I've never played it, so.
And I've gone like 3 times.
Well, maybe we'll get it on the channel sometime.
Maybe that would be fun. We can do it at Mum's house, Ash.
You want to have a 4-way in your mum's house?
Let's have a 4-way at my mum's house. Why not?
Come on. And then moving on, the sort of main event, as it were, of Ardacon is the World Championship stroke Team Championships. Now that is just one event, but both individual and team scoring takes place, which we'll go into a bit further in a moment. But that's sort of the main event, as it were. So, any final comments on any of the events or anything before we move on?
Yeah, you forgot one very important one, Elliot.
Why?
You have. Our very own, your very own Gollum's gamer, Jay Acharya, recently turned 30. So on the Friday night, we've hired out a private club venue to celebrate his birthday.
Come on!
And everyone from Ardacon is coming along to celebrate. So yeah, details of that places on the Facebook page. Keep an eye out for it if anyone wants to go in.
And there will be
the only reason Jake's here,
including the pictures, I'm sure as well, right?
Yeah. There will be a link in the description to the event page. I would have plugged it, but Jay, of course, did not tell me of anything. He sent me his list 2 minutes before the podcast. So I will blame Jay for not keeping me informed of what was going on. So
to be fair, I can't organise my own birthday like Bash, can I?
True that.
Right.
True that.
Yeah. That's not allowed.
Yeah, I'm going to miss it. So, okay, we will move on then to start discussing the World Stroke Team Championships. So it is a 6-round event, and there is a 7th round for the top 2 players in the standings at the end of the event. So everyone will only play 6 rounds, apart from 2 people that will then play in a final round. As I mentioned, it's a team scoring sort of event as well. So teams must have a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 9 players, but the lists of everyone in the team, they can't use the same hero more than once. So as soon as you take a Witch King in one of the lists in your team, you can't take the Witch King again in any of the others. So no repeating.
Witch King can't you take again?
Angmar.
Yes, Ali. Great banter.
Teammates won't be paired against each other until round 7, so you won't play any of your own teammates unless you are then the top 2 people in the standings for the round 7. A team score will be their top 4 scores. I think that's right. I sort of had to decipher that.
Yeah, top 4 rankings.
Yeah, top 4.
The top 4 combined then makes the team rankings. To see who the winning team is. The scoring for the event is 5 TPs for a win, 2 for a draw, and 0 for a loss. The key thing to note here is that your oaths that you deny your opponent is the first tiebreaker. Now, you might be wondering what oaths are. Well, you gain 1 extra TP for each game that you complete your secret oath. So oaths are essentially secret missions. So I will run through very briefly for the audio listeners, the Spotify listeners, what those are. So you have 4 of these oaths, and your opponent before each game discards one of them, and then you can select from one of the 3 remaining oaths to use as your secret objective for that game. So the first one, nice and simple, is to wound the enemy leader with your leader. The second one is to kill the most expensive enemy model in your opponent's force that is not their leader. That's nice and easy. Now, these next 2 are a little bit confusing, so I may need a handful of people who have actually been to Ardacon.
Please help them, guys.
One of them is that you have to note down one of your own heroes at the start of the game, and then you need to get that hero within 3 inches of your opponent's board edge by the end of the game, which I think is fine. But then you can also do that with like troops as well. Do you guys know about that bit or not?
I'll be honest, I haven't read this year's pack. Last year it wasn't troops, it was just heroes, but it may
I think it's exactly the same.
In that case, then yeah, no,
it's troops as well.
No,
just
just
hero.
Just hero.
For the objective, which is the 4th one.
Okay, because it said for like
do you have to be alive as well at the end of the game? Just throwing FAQ questions.
You've got to be at the board edge at the end of the game. You can't,
I don't know. Rules is written.
It was saying for like Maelstrom, like you pick a point on your opponent's board edge, and then you have to get within 3 inches.
To be fair, that's actually in an FAQ, is how you determine what an opposing board edge is.
Yeah, so I sort of So I think you can do it with troops as well. And if you do it with troops, you need to have 3 times as many troops as your opponent within 3 inches. It's something like that, but it's
that's the 4th objective. The 4th objective is there's a point on the field that you have to get more models near.
Yes, but it did say that as well in the description for the other one. So it was yeah. But the next one, so is it that you place an objective marker anywhere on the board?
Yeah, correct.
Anywhere, okay. But then it said for scenarios that have like a center line, it has to be. But I thought every scenario has a center line, so I wasn't too sure what it meant by that.
I don't know. I think you just confused the whole world on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a marker somewhere on the battlefield. You have to get more models near at the end of the game. That's the gist.
Yes. So it's sort of
be somewhere on the field.
Hold ground, I guess, to a certain extent. But yeah. So yeah, that's how the odes work. So any comments on the odes? Obviously, some of you guys have been to Ardacon before, how they worked previously. Who wants to kick us off?
I think one thing to say. Sorry, Ellie. I think you can veto an oath, right, of your opponents.
Yeah, no, Elliot did say that bit.
You can discard one.
Come on, keep up, Jay.
Yeah. Sorry,
that was.
To be fair, Elliot's explanation was so confusing. I think that's understandable.
I mean, I think that the first 2 went fine. I mean, they were. It's just how they were written. I don't know.
We'll book in some oath revision before next year. Don't worry. We'll make sure we get.
I'm glad I'm not going because I'll definitely mess it up.
Achieving O's because it's a 150 player event, I think this year or somewhere in that region, is an important tiebreaker because you're not guaranteed to only have 2 people left to go into the final round. If like everyone wins. So actually getting them is important. So I probably should have looked at what they were and planned my list better for it, maybe. But
to be fair, what I've typically found with them is that there's two of them that are very heavily favourable of strong, powerful heroes, and two of them are very favourable on large horde armies. So no matter what force you take, there's always something you can do. So I don't think planning.
And they're not very secret.
No.
Yeah. So I guess depending on what type of army you've taken, you may just keep on taking the same oath every game.
Yeah, I think that's often what ends up happening.
Yeah.
I remember that. I mean, I think they've changed slightly from when I last went about 3 years ago. But usually you end up only having 2 that you ever do.
Yeah. Because it isn't like Matt's Into the West, where sort of once you complete it, you have to discard it kind of thing.
No.
So I think I might prefer that. Any other sort of comments on the setup of the event? The teams, anything like that from when you guys have been to Ardacon?
So it's kind of one of the biggest things about the event is you do not play your own teammates, which kind of is handy. As like we'll come on to the list. Basically, you can make it so you don't have to worry about playing some of the usual people you maybe would be concerned about being.
That is a very interesting.
First 6 games on day 1 is Jakob is going to knock out one member from each of our team in every game.
We'll take his passport off him.
I do kind of find that. I find it a little bit it's quite peculiar because Ardacon sort of held up as the best event to win as a player, just sort of below like your national leagues. Ardacon, if you win that, is sort of like the best thing you can do. And then kind of having the fact that you won't play some of the best players because of them being on your team. So it seems a little bit interesting. I don't know.
The why it originated is so this is me showing my age being part of the scene because I know this. So when James Clark used to be actually involved in playing events and stuff like that, him and a bunch of the original GBHL podcast guys went to Nova Open, and then they ended up playing each other in like 2 or 3 of their games, which are like, if I've just spent X amount of money to fly across the Atlantic to then just draw against the other guys is a bit of a waste. And so essentially James didn't want to recreate that because it's meant to be like international, so there are people coming from Australia. I think there's a whole team of 9 from Australia, so if they came over to the other side of the world and then just played each other, it's a bit sucky.
I can. That's a good.
Play new people, I guess.
It's a good justification. So fair enough.
And there's still plenty of quality people from other countries that you are then going to be drawing, or more likely to be drawn against, because you're not playing against the people that have come from your country. So
I said there were 9 Australians going, so there can't be that much quality.
At least 9. Well said, Ali. Shout out to the Australians. Okay, so I think if we are ready to move on then, looking at some of the lists which are going to the event. So we are going to start by looking at 2 lists which are very similar from Jay and Vince. So one of these is Jay's list that he has taken to the regular Ardacon event, is that right?
The Masters.
To the Masters. And he's taken a different list to the main event, which we'll talk about in a little while. And then this is Vince's list. He's taken to just the main event. So, Jay, did you want to start by reading out your list for us?
Yeah, sure. So, anyone want to guess which list is mine?
The better one.
The better one.
The one with the ballista.
So my list, as standard, as usual, Isengard. So Lurtz with shield. He's leading 5 Uruk-hai warriors with a crossbow, 8 warriors with a pike, 1 Uruk warrior with banner and pike, and 1 Crebain. Warband 2 Skorl, and he's leading 6 warriors with crossbow and 6 warriors with pike. 3rd Warband Vrasku, he's got 3 warriors with pike and 2 warriors with spear and shield. And I actually think, Elliot, you've inputted it in wrong. Vrasku and Gorov should be switched around in terms of who they're leading.
Oh, really?
That's fine, don't worry. Little trivial error, doesn't matter.
Sorry, yeah.
That's right, no, don't worry. And the final warband is an Isengard Assault Ballista with just 3 crew, no other upgrades.
Love it.
No bonus crew?
No bonus crew, no points.
No points. So
there were points, but didn't want to use it.
For Vince's list, the differences here is that he has taken Ugluk instead of Vrasku, and he has 3 Warg Riders with Throwing Spear. And then Jay obviously has the Lister in there. Vince also has 40 models compared to Jay's 38. So Jay, do you want to kind of give some of our listeners the rundown of this list? Obviously, you've used it so much in recent memory. How does it work? How does it play? Tell us.
So I used it a lot in recent memory, but not very well in the last couple of months, to be fair.
Better than using Angmar.
True, though.
Whoa, that's
wrongly
that
written,
cuts
right?
deep. That cuts deep.
So effectively, the whole point of the army is you've got 3 heroes like that have all got their own sort of capability and own sort of versatility in their own different way. But the troops really do the bulk of the business, whether that's with all the crossbows, just shooting down your opponent and whittling them down, or whether that's in combat where ideally you have 3 dice to 1 or 4 with a banner, or to 2 rather, to your opponents. And with a fight 4, strength 4, if you win a fight, in theory, you should be killing whatever troop you're up against on the whole anyway. The Crebane's crucial, Ash, right? For that maneuverability,
That maneuverability, without the Crebanes, terrible list. With the Crebane, now we're cooking.
We are.
Yeah. And obviously the ballista's just there because it just forces your opponent into thinking a little bit more about how they deploy, where they move, where they maneuver. And actually, in reality, in this list, without the Legion, it doesn't actually do that all that much. But
You're
it's
not
more
meant
just
to tell them that before the event.
That's fine. No one listens to this before the event, right? And I'll psych them out anyway, right?
Ali, our listeners know all this stuff already because
our audio listeners.
This is where we
True that.
This is where we spill all the beans, about competitive SPG.
Probably why I've not won an event or podiumed at an event in a while, right, Elliot? You guys are giving away all my tricks. But yeah, the ballista's just there because when it does damage, it'll regain its points back, probably with 1 hit or 1 shot. But just the threat that it can cause all game is just obviously a bit of a nuisance for your opponent. And obviously, if you've got blinding light or anything that can negate the shooting, I mean, the troops do the job. Gorolf is great going into any big hero, or even if it doesn't go into any heroes, he'll just chop through troops. Lurtz actually as a hero is not too bad. Strength 5. It's got 3 wounds. It can strike. It's got march. It's got everything you need. And Vrasku's there just for the shooting and for the march as well. But all in all, usually quite a fair bit. Does what it says in the tin. Good at shooting. Good in combat. Good heroes. Just generally all good. Just Isengard, right?
Yeah, that's good.
To say. Just
solid.
A little bit.
Now, Jake, you have also used Isengard quite a lot in sort of the last year or so. Would you have anything to add on to that?
I mean, at 650 points, I think Jay has built either the best or the second best possible list that he can do. The only weakness it kind of inherently has is the fact that it's D5 almost everywhere. Other than that, it pretty much covers all the bases that you need. And even the fact of it being D5 isn't a huge inconvenience. So when you've got a list that's biggest weakness isn't usually that much of a problem, then it's pretty solid all around. It goes quite well into a lot of things. Still got a good model count. Yeah, I really like it. So
if our terrain inspector was present, he would mention that the terrain at Ardacon is somewhat sparse. Is that correct?
I would disagree. For the
Ooh.
Masters.
Ooh.
Anyway.
Ooh.
I mean, I wasn't there last year, so I can't say, but the year before, there was, I mean, I spent all the time, like there's an upstairs podium bit where the Masters happened when I did it, and also during the event. So I never really went downstairs, so I don't know what the common people were using. But anyway, up on those tables, it was pretty dense for a lot of the boards. Like, as in, I'm not going to say it's the densest, but there were like big tents which generate a line of sight blocking, and you can jump between and hide on that behind. So I would say it was true in the past. I don't know how true it is now.
Yeah, definitely the lower down the tables you get, the more sparse the terrain becomes.
Yeah.
So if you own
The less they care about those tables,
doing very well.
Yeah, the less those tables are important, apparently.
But especially because it's the Masters event, they won't be needing as many tables, so the terrain may be more bulked out for Thursday.
Well, the doubles is on at the same time now, so maybe I don't know, maybe that'll affect it. But
yeah. Now, what do you think about these lists? Whose is better? Vince Wong will be key.
I was about to make a very cheap. Well, as there's sparse terrain, you can do lots of shooting, which makes Jay's list even better. But I guess that might not be the case.
So we're not taking player skill into account, because otherwise clearly Vince would be my number one.
Yeah. We're just looking at the list. Now, Vince said that he watched our cavalry tier list. Now, make sure you go check that out if you're interested in.
Well, that means Vince's list is worse.
We rate the best in the game. And we had the Warg Rider, spoiler alert, very high on that list. So he thought, I'll put a load of Warg Riders in my list. So I think we did kind of influence his list building decision.
So Vince has done that thing where he's heard a throwaway comment, took it as gospel, and built an entire list around it.
I mean, a throwaway comment, I'm pretty sure, spoiler alert, we had the Warg Rider as the second best cavalry in the game. So
now they don't need to go watch it.
But they don't know what the first is.
Yeah, but they want to hear our justifications.
So he put some in there.
I mean, I know Vince was talking about it on our chat, but the main point of interest is Ardacon over Vrasku, really.
Yeah. To be fair, it's not terrible. I think if he dropped the Warg Rider, swapped out Uglut for Vrasku, and just said, I don't want the ballista, I'll just go bulk troops, then he might have something.
But you can only get an extra 2 troops.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all you need.
Yeah, but I mean, as in you're going to be having spare points.
I
would. So you'll probably end up going for like a second Cravain or something like that.
Yeah.
So go up to 42 models, with...
Now that is a choice I can get behind.
That's the list that I probably would go for, partly because I just don't like siege engines.
Fair.
Yeah, 42 models with 2 Cravain instead of 1 Cravain and 3 Rock Riders.
I would like his interest. I think Vrasku's just probably going to be more useful.
I think I do agree.
Especially because he's got accuracy, doesn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is he like the only evil model with accuracy?
Oh, good question.
Might be.
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. Let us know if that's true.
But that could help if there is terrain, though, to maximize your crossbows.
You already have 2 5/5 strikers in the list. I just think taking a third, sure, it's nice to have. I just think.
But then if you are facing a Dragon Emperor army, that potentially is pretty useful, or elves or something like that.
Yeah.
I just think Vrasku probably wins 4 times out of 6 in that sort of
It just gives the trouble with having Uglug is the fact that you've now got another squishy hero that's only gaining benefit from being in combat. So in all of the hero killing scenarios, you don't have one that you just say, oh, obviously it's going to be Vrasku. I can sit him behind the line. He's 3 might. He's never going to get touched.
This stand fast isn't super useful because you're only taking it at 66%. Which if you're getting towards 25%, you're probably not doing well in that game anyway.
Well, in Vince's list, the only orc models he has is the Warg Riders, so he can't even use that really anyway.
Yeah, I do like having more Warg Riders though. I mean, being able to have just that extra maneuverability is very useful.
Yeah, it is helpful.
In the Masters though, that's kind of the thing, is I would say different things as well, depending if you're going against an all-comers and if you're going Masters, because you'd expect the field to be different.
Yeah, true.
But I think Jay's is better. Probably
we will be ranking them at the end in the tier list, so we can revisit this topic. Okay, we will move on from the Isengard lists to take a look at Jake Rawson's Arnor list. Is this exactly the same list we took last year?
It's not the same now. It's not even my list.
I will note here that there is not the 2 dudes that have the flail. Because Lonely Knight won't let me put it on there, so I didn't put it on there.
Well, that's also because they don't have flails this year. I'm not taking flails this time.
Oh,
I took flails last year. I'm taking clubs this year.
Okay. Maybe it did say clubs. Maybe that's but
I think
this was the list that Ali sent me, so I hope it's the right list. But yes, so anyway, for the Spotify listeners, Jake, would you care to run through it for us, please?
Yeah, sure. So it's the same list as I took last year. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I got told by Michael Bradford last minute, oh, Jake, list submissions tonight, put something in, so it had to be this. So it's Arvidui with 12 Warriors of Arnor, and then a 13th one of them has his shield and spear swapped to a banner. Marbeth the Seer with 6 Warriors of Arnor and 5 Rangers with spear. And I've got 2 Captains of Arnor with almost identical warbands. They both got 5 warriors, and then one of them has 5 rangers, the other one has 4 rangers and 1 hobbit archer, because I didn't quite have the points to bring in another ranger. So I took the hobbit archer and did 2 weapon swaps instead. So it's 48 models total, break at 25 dead, 8 might.
Nice. Now,
Master Jake, why have you chosen to take clubs? What benefit do you gain from that?
That's a very good question, Mr. Ash. So last year I took flails because I was like, well, 2 points, it means fuck all. Let's just do any old random weapon swap. And I had a couple of 3D printed flails lying around, so I just took those on. This year I've gone with the clubs because last year at Ardacon, I was facing a Thranduil's Halls list, and Thranduil went into Malbeth, and I was like, well, Malbeth is screwed. Let's stun with the staff for the lols. Malbeth won the fight against Thranduil, stunned him, and then Thranduil got ganked and killed next turn. So I thought, if that's what one stunning weapon can do, I wonder what 3 could do. So it's there to go into big heroes and hopefully win the fight and get the stun off, because Arnor don't really have an answer for big heroes. It's just throw a guy in and hope that he doesn't die. Whereas if you send someone in with a club, you can maybe chance them then to get a stun, and then you're talking with a fight. So yeah, it's just for the very small chance that it goes off.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you potentially go on to win Ardacon. So for anyone going to the event, listen out.
Absolutely.
I did want to ask as well, Jake, how would you feel about adding some Arnor cavalry to this event? Does this, how cracked is this list with cavalry added in? I just wanted to get your take on that.
I would not add any cavalry into this list.
Interesting.
Oh, no.
Took me back
He's
there.
just saying that's rage bait. There's no way that's true. That is rage bait.
Don't get me wrong. At other points levels, yes, absolutely throw some cavalry in. But at 650, this is just the perfect level for it, because you get everything you want. You get a good model count compared to everything else. And if you start bringing in cavalry models, you start forsaking that model count advantage. So 650 is right the perfect level where you don't need anything else. Drop it down to 600 up to 700, and then you definitely throw some cavalry in either way. But yeah.
What if they are the 13-point Serpent Rider,
stolen my question.
that Ash is hoping they will be?
How many
points? They're not going to be 13, they'll be 14. I'm telling you now. 14 points.
14-point gang. Okay.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Guaranteed. But
yeah,
they're fine, and I'll definitely include some in my Arnor list going forward when they eventually get released. But probably just 2 or 3, no more than that, just to go and do objectives with Argadir. Is it Argadir? Is that the guy's name?
Argadir. Yeah.
So yeah, but I don't think they're going to change the core way the list works, unless we get some other cool releases to go with it, which we probably will. So
for Arnor, yeah, maybe. So any other thoughts from anyone on Arnor at 650 or anything like that?
What would you not want to play?
Ben Haslam's Dragon Emperor list, which I think is the winning list of the event.
Ooh.
You'll be looking.
That's just because it's Ben.
Ciao, Ben.
Well, the only reason I'm not taking it is because he's in my team and he is taking it. Otherwise, I'd be taking Dragon Emperor this time.
Jake, we are in the same team. You can say our team.
The Emperor before, Jake. I'm not sure I've ever seen you run the Emperor before.
Just because I don't have it. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Right.
I've wanted to run it for quite a while, but every time I've gone to play at an event and wanted to borrow it from one of my friends, they've been using it, so I've never had the chance. So
it's been that broken for that long. Never got the chance. Yeah. Anything else on
that's the only list I think it's worried about, Ali. There's a few others that mildly concerning, but because of the way the team's format is, you're not likely to encounter a lot of the same list. So yeah.
Okay, I think we will leave it there then for the Arnor list. We will move on to have a look at Ali's Mordor list. Now, I'm sure some of our viewers and listeners will be looking at this or listening to this list and thinking, what on earth is this? This isn't the normal type of list we see on the Gollum's game as well. Ali, would you like to run through it for us?
Enlighten the globe.
Yes.
So, just to mix up what a Mordor list could look like when Ash is on the podcast.
We've included the mandatory Mouth of Sauron, so I'm happy.
Ash is happy.
To be fair, I took Mouth of Sauron in this list before you were even playing.
Probably before I was born.
Wow, that was only 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, Gothmog, Lieutenant of Sauron with Warg and Shield as the leader. And then he is leading an Orc drummer. So to give me super speed, 7 Morgul Stalkers, 6 Moran Orcs with Shield and Spear, and then 1 with Shield, Spear, and Banner. And then Warband 2 is the Mouth of Sauron with Armoured Horse, 1 Warg Rider with Shield, 6 Morgul Stalkers, 7 Moran Orcs with Shield and Spear. And then Warband 3 is Gorbag, Orc Captain with Shield, 5 Orc Trackers, and then 1 Warg Rider with Shield, to give me a total of 38 models. And Elliot is gone, so I'll let you guys talk.
I mean, I quite like it, if I'm being honest. I think it's different but familiar. It's got really good damage output. It's got a few different ways that it can be played if needs be. So you've got a bit of flexibility there. You've got nice support. I genuinely think it's quite a good list, and you'll definitely catch some people off guard with it.
This, I'd like to ask Jake.
And the drum is quite important as well.
Not be a little bit scared to face it.
What was that, me, Ash? Would I be scared to face it?
Yeah, obviously he's got the hatred of men, time of the orc. He's got the drum to sort of bomb past your shooting, and he's got 3 potentially fight 5 heroes to start killing the Arnor.
Your list is the kind of list Ali's hoping to run into.
Yeah, I think that's what
not really. Arnor's still very
maybe
good.
Not Arnor, no, but men.
So in this matchup, if Ali's smart, which he obviously is, he's one of the best people in the game, he'll put his Morannons in front and his Stalkers behind to half my shooting capacity. I'll maybe kill 2 to 4 models, depending on how many turns of shooting I get. And then I can just kind of body around him with the Arnor and use my captain and my heroic defense and Arvidu to slow down his heroes enough. And then it'll just come down to the dice at that point. So it's not terrifying, but it could go either way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this list was originally conceived because I used to use sort of a Hunter Orc Azog's Legion thing for a couple of events where it was Bolg with Master Battle, Gundabad Orcs with Spears and Shields, and then Hunter Orcs led by the Hunter Orc heroes.
I was wondering why you didn't do that, to be honest, because it feels very akin to that. And is it better?
So the army functions better. So the annoying thing when you do that list is you get shot to death and your only march is Bolg. Your courage is only 3, or you have to invest in a Warhorn. Where 2, and 3 if you invest in a Warhorn. The Morgul Stalkers are quite underrated because on the face of it they look like expensive hunters, but they're base courage 3. So if you do outnumber, which it may not do, but normally after turn 1, if you call time the Orc, you will do. They go up to courage 4, which is pretty good. They benefit from the drum, so you can zoom, and then the march, so I can go 12 inches a turn, and I've got the mouth or Gothmorg who can do the march. Still got the Master of Battle. And they also have Stalk Unseen, so they can hide as well and jump from terrain to terrain if I need to.
You are paying 2 points though for the extra courage and Stalk Unseen.
Yeah, but the way I see it is you're paying for the army bonus and then all of the buffs that you get along with it. Because if I do outnumber, they're going to be re-rolling 1s all game as well, hopefully, ideally. So the idea is you alpha strike, so you go up the board as quickly as possible, you hit as hard as you can, and then you outnumber.
What did you just call that?
Alpha strike.
Alpha strike.
I wasn't sure of that one.
Have you not heard that term before?
No.
It kind of comes from sort of other gaming systems.
That was hot.
But yeah.
I'm going to use that from now on.
So
You've been alpha striked.
You've been alphaed.
It's a better army than the Bolg one was.
Yeah.
Because it's, as you say, it's more flexible and it covers its weaknesses a little bit better.
You've been running this for like a little while now because we did some games with it, even in Aldershot.
Yeah, on and off.
You used Musgur then, though. Was that just at higher points? Are there any changes? I guess I'm wondering.
So at 700 points, I don't have the mouth. I have Musgur, and it kind of varies a lot. You can pretty much interchange the heroes that you want depending on the points. So I quite like Musgur. So originally I was trying to do a Mordor list as well, which had no ring wraiths in it. Hence, there's no ring wraiths in it. Mouth works quite well when I need a combat-y and castery hero, but sometimes if I got 4 heroes, I can just go for Musgur and then I can go for Zagdish as well. So it kind of depends on the points
on this podcast, Ali.
Why?
Only Ashley.
Zagdish is amazing.
Ali likes him. Not Ali. Adam likes him also.
Well, I like him as well. Like it does a job. You charge in, strike, and you kill a whole load of stuff, and then just burn his might until he dies.
You've literally chosen the Gorbinator over Zagdish. So
yeah, but Zagdish should be my next hero.
I think you're gonna have. There's gonna be a cool moment as well where a Morgul Stalker's like hidden on an objective, and somebody has to physically run up to him in order to remove him from the objective, as opposed to we'll take a shot at a D4 model. That's easy peasy. So I think
it's low-key much better than people think when they see it, which is also a handy thing in itself, is that people tend to underestimate.
They'll know that you are Ali King from the Gollum's Gamers. They'll be like, holy shit, this man.
No one is going to know him as Ali King from the Gollum's Gamers.
Yeah.
They're
go
Ali
King. They will, Jake.
Great fucking legendary MESBG player.
Ali King, league champion.
Yeah.
From the Gollum's Game. Let's put that little bit at the end. Any other comments on Ali's list before we move on?
Oh, one other thing is it's super fun having Gothmorg and the Wild Riders go 20 inches in one turn.
It's fun.
My question is, because it doesn't say on there, you may have said to be fair, who's the leader?
Gothmorg.
Yeah, okay, sure.
He's got heroic defense, basically.
It makes sense. Yeah.
D7. And if contest comes up, it's quite funny with Master Battle. I had a game against Harry Parkhill a few years ago now where he had Elendo. But then Gothmorg was like, wait, suddenly I'm just as good at killing and getting a whole bunch of free heroic combat. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, we will leave it there for Ali's Mordor list, and we will move on to Jay's Masters list. Sorry,
around.
This is your regular list for the actual main event. So, could you run through it for the Spotify listeners for us, Jay? Your second time this evening. Come on.
Yeah, so not Isengard this time. It's actually pure Goblin Town. So Goblin King is the leader, 23 Goblin Warriors and Gollum in his warband. Warband 2 is Grinner with 18 Goblin Warriors. Warbands 3 and 4 identical. It's 2 Goblin Captains with 18 Goblin Warriors. And then the final warband is Goblin Scribe with 3 Goblin Warriors. And then just because I had 1 point left, 1 Goblin Warrior who's got a 2-handed axe.
Oh,
I heard you should have gone for a
so that comes to 87 models. Oh yeah,
87 models.
87 models. 44 killed to broken and 21 rather to quarter.
Yeah. So what was the thinking here? Because you were taking Isengard to the regular tournament as well, but last minute you've changed to Goblin Town.
Just thought I'd go a bit rogue. I used Azog last year when I went to Ardacon, and obviously using it for 12 games, losing one army for 12 games, I thought was just a bit tiring. And obviously, even if you know how to use the army, you don't really think as much, if that makes sense, in terms of like what the models do. But I just thought using 12 games for one army, like it just gets a bit much. So I thought, let me change it up a bit. Plus, I think the meta from people abroad is very different to how we play in the UK. And a lot of countries, I know there's emphasis on either horde armies or elite armies. And I thought, you know what? 87 models, I can match that meta. So let's go for it.
Yeah, nice.
It's a tall order trying to kill all those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you ever actually used Goblin Town before? I'm not sure I've seen you use it.
Back in the day, pre-Gollum's Gamers was even created before you guys were even around. I did use it back in the day. In the old edition, when you're able to ally in like whatever you wanted.
You can tell which one of us have turned 30 recently.
I did use it back in the day, but I haven't used it since probably 2017 maybe at the earliest.
Right.
So it'd be good to get those goblins back out. Indispensable goblins.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm keen to get Ash's thoughts because he obviously doesn't know that I'm using this list, whereas obviously Jake and Ellie both knew.
I mean, we knew about half an hour ago.
Yeah, same as me.
My thoughts are, it's been Goblin Town's been winning GBHL events quite recently, just sort of out of the blue. They seem to consistently be doing well. So I think it's a good choice. 87 models is so hard to deal with. How long are the rounds at Ardacon?
2 hours?
I think it's 2.
2 hours, so it's a good amount of time as well for 650. Just got to make sure those hands are moving quickly, get to the objectives and die. But nobody is going to, it's going to be so hard to break this list. And the scribe just chucking models on.
Just to throw water on that theory, I played Goblin Town at Ardacon 2.5 years ago against one of the nicest Italians I've ever met. And it is possible to break the list and drop it to 25% in the 2 hours. We did draw the game, but it was quite funny when I was like, oh, how close are you to breaking? I was like, oh, miles off. I was like, oh, no, wait, 4 models. That was when I was using Frederick's card. But yeah, no, you can do it. It depends really on your speed of play. So, and your list. So, actually, just for example, my Morgul Stalker list can blitz through this. I mean, it may also die as well, but you're just chucking enough dice that you will kill stuff quickly.
Kill goblins.
Whereas maybe your version of Mordor, the traditional, wouldn't actually chop through it that quickly because you don't have the volume and the combat heroes to really just.
They wouldn't be charging me though, Ali, so it'd be fine.
Yeah, but that's why part of the reason why you won't break them so quickly, because the game is just elongated.
Yeah, that's
you've
true.
got wasted points in fight 4, strength 4, and all the other stuff that doesn't matter against them. So
yeah.
No, you're totally right. I think you'll do really well with it, Jay. You could get screwed over if you play Lords of Battle, but you just got to hope that you don't. There's one bad scenario.
I don't think Lords is actually that bad. I mean, it depends on what you play against, right? If I played against a conventional army like Ali's or whatever, then 100% you're done for, right? But like the Goblin King and Gollum
or play AOL, it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's really variable. There's a few scenarios, obviously, that aren't great for it. Lords being one of them, depending on what you play. But on the whole,
because Lords, if you break them and kill their leader, you'll still win even if they've killed more troops than you. You've just got to minimize
not to get double, right?
Yeah, which actually is harder than you think to get double often.
Yeah, and unless they've got magic or elven made weapons, good luck killing the Goblin King as well.
Yeah, you're not.
But he's going to get stunned. Have you not heard?
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Everyone at Ardacon is just going to be using stun all the time now.
Listen, it's submitted now, Elliot. Remember, too late now.
Yeah, it's too late.
One thing I will say about this list is better for the main event at the weekend than it is for the Masters.
Yeah, hence why I took it this way around.
I mean, I'm just sort of saying it is the right way around to do it because Hordes are much better in winning. I say non-elite events, but more like you can get whatever thrown at you. Where specialist lists are probably better against the in theory better players.
This list is also really nice for the oaths as well, because you've got the model count for the objective based ones, but also your leader can reliably kill a lot of stuff, so it's good for the other two as well. So it plays quite nicely into both of those.
Yeah,
this is where you just get every banner mission and Lords.
Oh yeah, if I get 3 banner missions or 2 banner missions, whatever it is, then even then. I mean, destroy the supplies wouldn't be awful. That should be
isn't awful right, for Goblin Town.
Everywhere. Everywhere. Scribes everywhere. Let's see.
I am surprised you didn't take the Merc Captain as well, though, Jay.
Well, I mean, I was tempted to, because that would help for that other objective, right? For the other oath, to get your hero to the other edge of the board. But I don't know. I think the guys convinced me that Scribe's probably better for the majority of the rounds.
Scribe's definitely better, I think.
So I think you take both of them. I think you drop one of your regular captains.
Yeah,
and
put his
warband.
How does it work points-wise, though? Like, how many models do you go down to? I don't know.
Well, you lose 3 goblins to go up to a Merc Captain, don't you? Or was it 4?
Yeah, but then I'll lose. No, it's 3 goblins.
Yeah.
Or 4, right? 15 points. It's 50 points for the Merc Captain. But the problem is the Merc Captain. I don't want to take 18 with him, right? I don't know if you can. How many can you leave?
No, but you put all the models that were in the original Captain's warband into the Goblin Scribe's warband, and then you want to take a few in his warband.
True, but the Scribe deploys at the back, right? So I don't really want a whole warband just right at the back of the board.
I think the Scribe can go wherever you want, can't he?
Yeah,
it's just everyone deploys him at the back because, they don't want him to die.
Yeah, the Scribe can go anywhere.
Oh, fair enough. Okay,
and you can pick him up and move him along.
Yeah,
pick him up, move him.
I think the advantage of having the Merc Captain as well, for those objectives, for those scenarios where you don't want goblins on the board edge, then the mercenary gives you that as well. So you've got pretty much coverage of wherever you want to go on the board. Like the Scribe is definitely better in some things.
The good thing is, this is why we're doing the plot today, and the list deadline is actually midnight tonight as the day of recording. And I've actually not submitted the list yet. So
Elliot's just posted up the wrong list.
This is the third change for Jay in the last hour. I am tweaking hard right now.
Jay's actually taking Rivendell Knights.
Not a bad idea. I may tweak it a little bit, but it'll be this variant. Maybe that one Goblin Captain will go and be a Merc Captain with a few less goblins. So trying something different. We'll let you guys know how we do or how I do with this list.
check out the Instagram for Ardacon
Check out the Instagram
updates.
for updates.
There we go. Okay, so moving on then, we will take a look at Michael Bradford's list. Shout out to Michael Bradford, who is one of the teammates of Ali, Jay, and Jake this weekend. What is the name of your team?
Oh, actually, should we explain this? So we are the GBHL All-Stars. So to qualify, it's basically, I don't know, at some point, Farmer got into or saw something from Kylie from Australia and Green Dragon podcast fame and all of that lot about the Aussies are coming over, and I think she said that the Aussies would beat the Brits, and then we'd be like, well, every time that you've come over, the Brits top players are usually spread across multiple teams, so it's never been actually a Team UK or Team GBHL.
Yeah.
So Farmer motivated the rest of us to actually like form a super team.
So is it on now? Is it on for Ardacon?
Oh yeah, so the team, everyone in the team has at some point won the GBHL 100. So the team is myself, Jake, Jay, Farmer, Ryan Hinch, Michael Bradford, Dave Reed, who am I forgetting, Jake? Ben. Am I missing one person? Oh, and Clubly. But Clubly, I suppose, has won 100 recently, so he's no longer a has-been, unlike me. But we did have Jakob in the team, but because him and Farmer couldn't use the same toys, Jakob said that he would depart and then he'll go beat the rest of us.
Don't start spreading rumours. That's not what happened at all.
I thought that was genuine. It's because they both wanted to
have
use
loyalty to Team Poland for Ardacon. That's what happened.
That is completely respectable. Ali always twists the truth.
No, I genuinely think it was just because they both wanted to use the same mess. But yeah, and so Wiggins was in the team at one point, even though he hadn't won a GBHL 100. And then because he failed to win Michael's event, we went and destroyed his car so he could no longer afford to go because he then doesn't qualify. And then, but because Dave Reed won a ticket for the Masters, he's come out of Scotland for the first time in many years and has ventured back down south, who had previously won a GBHL 100. So he rounds out the team.
We have assembled a team to try and protect our home turf here against international players coming over for Ardacon. Nice. That is what we love to see. Okay.
To be fair, it's just the Aussies. Like, I don't think we care about beating anyone else. It's just the Aussies.
Just the Aussies. Well, you guys better step up and get it done. I mean, okay. Well, we will move on then to talking about Michael's list. So it is a Army of Lake Town and Thorin's Company alliance. So it is led by the Master of Lake Town, leading 3 Lake Town Guard, 9 with spear and another 3 with bow. Then he has Braga leading 6 Lake Town Guard with spear and another 6 with bow. Then he has a Lake Town Guard captain leading 6 with spear and 6 with bow. Then Alfred leading 4 with spear. And then from Thorin's Company, he has Thorin Oakenshield with Orcrist and the Oakenshield. Then he has Bomber on pony, and then Bilbo on pony with Sting and the Ring. So it's 50 models in total, 15 bows and 14 might. But he has quite a saucy little trick going on with Bomber where he can give will back to Alfred potentially, and then Alfred can regain might. So it's sort of a might caddy there, and then Braga has sort of the whole might thing as well. So lots of might going around, 50 models. I did think that Thorin, when I first looked at the list, I thought it was the Erebor reclaimed the free heroic combat, one, but it's just Thorin.
It's the Green Alliance.
So
basically,
it's just Thorin on foot. So, but it's still
just poopy Thorin.
What do we think on this?
That Thorin is really points efficient.
What do we think?
I mean, it's a Lake Town Horde, so it does Lake Town Horde things with a sprinkling of basically Bomber, just to mean that you pretty much will get fight value for all the important combats. Because if you think it would probably give Alfred a couple of extra will points.
What is with the inclusion of Bilbo? Why not Dwalin to get just another killer, which is kind of what Lake Town suffer?
Because Bilbo is much better. Bilbo
gives you the ring.
Yeah. Now, I think the reason Ash is saying this is because Sam recently won the GBHL 90 this weekend, and he thought Bilbo was a sack of arse cheeks.
Yeah, so Bilbo being movement 4, you have to learn how to work around it.
Yeah.
And Sam probably hasn't yet, but he didn't.
And also bear in mind, this Bilbo is significantly cheaper than the 90-point version.
Yeah, this Bilbo also doesn't.
Right, of course.
The ring is not awakened either, so it's the most reliable ring bearer.
The fact that for 65 points you can take a ring bearer is pretty crazy.
And he's got like quite a bit of might as well to back him up.
Yeah,
a lot.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
quite cool.
I personally think this is almost the perfect way to build the list, but not quite. I tried to convince Michael out of taking Thorin and instead taking Nori and Dory, but he went with Thorin in the end.
Which is what I would have done as well.
Yeah, but you know, it's still fine and it still works really well. I just think it has a slight edge if you take those two dwarf models instead.
What do the Thorin's company versions of them do? I know about the Airborne Reclaimed ones, but I don't.
So they're both 5/5. Dory has 3 attacks, and Nori is 5/5 with strike and has burly and 2-handed weapon.
Oh, so are they literally the same as the Airborne Reclaimed ones, just lower defense?
Well, Nori doesn't have a 2-handed weapon, even though he's still got Weapon Master in Reclaimed.
Yeah, so in this one, he actually gets his 2-handed bonus, but he's only 2 attacks in this one, whereas in the Airborne Reclaimed, he's 3 attacks.
He's 3, gotcha.
So, for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, just bringing those 2 models into this list spreads out your 5/5 a bit more. It actually gives you more damage output. And also, if you pair Nori with Bilbo, you're more likely to kill the model than with Thorin. And because Thorin can't be your leader in this one, which doesn't give you any more of a survivable leader, because it has to be the master, I don't think it adds as much as the other 2 would. But you know, it's only a minor change.
And you've got plenty of other heroes you could have protected if you're doing fog or something like that anyway.
Exactly. And plus, like, never people really underrate Dory, but like he's 5/5 3 attacks, he will just blitz through troops all day, every day.
I love that.
Yeah, I was a big fan of when Sam was taking quite frequently last year the Survivors and Airborne Reclaimed alliance with like 3 of the cheap sort of like 80 to 90-point dwarf heroes. I was a big fan of that. I want to run a list like that at some point.
Yeah. In defense of the Thorin option, he can still go 2-handed. So if you are ganging up on people with Bilbo, he can kill them. But it's less threats, which considering there'll be only 1 caster in most lists, you just go, cool, Thorin.
Yeah, you just cast on Thorin all game.
Do you think Michael has taken Thorin so that he can power play against Jay in round 7, having the Elven Blade with Thorin to take out the Goblin King?
Well, actually, we can't play each other because we're on the same team.
Well, yeah, but you can in round 7.
That's why I said in round
7. Oh, yeah.
Or do you think that the inclusion of Orcrist giving him an Elven weapon, is that good?
I don't think it will come up anywhere near as much as it would do at higher points.
Yeah.
But as Jake said, it's still a very good list. It's just, I think both of us would have gone the other route with the heroes.
Yeah, it's still solid. So, okay, we'll move on then from Michael's list, and we will go to Dave Farmer's AOL list, who is also part of the GBHL All-Star team. Shout out to the Any Heroics podcast as well. So it is AOL at 650, led by Musger, who's leading 10 Orcs with Spear, 1 with Banner Shield, and 1 Bat Swarm. Then he has Druzag leading 8 Goblins with Bow, 3 Prowlers, 1 Bat Swarm, and 2 Giant Spiders. Then he has a Orc Captain on Warg, leading 10 Orcs with Spear and 1 Warg Rider with Throwing Spear. And then a Moray Goblin Shaman, leading 8 Goblins with Bow and 3 Prowlers. So it's 52 models, 16 bows, and 7 might. So it's AOL at 650. Who wants to kick us off?
Jake, as Farmer's your arch nemesis,
they're best friends.
Are you scared?
That was 2023. Stop trying to stoke like hatred.
To play this list.
Yeah, just to make the public aware, me and Dave are actually very good friends. We often give each other endings when we win events, so it's fine. We've made up.
You can watch a 3.5-hour podcast of them discussing SBG by going to check out The Rates, linked in the description down below.
How many times in one video does Elliot plug his own stuff?
He pays himself each plug.
Of the Golden Game.
Let's have a mention of the race count on this podcast.
That sounds really awkward out of context.
But yeah, sorry, Ash, what was your question?
So my question was, do you think this list is scary against your Arnor list?
In 17 out of 18 scenarios, no.
Which one is it scary?
Destroy the supplies.
Because of the bat swarms.
Yeah, destroy the supplies is a concern because in any other list, in any other scenario, I think it loses out. Well, I'm fairly confident it loses out to Arnor because the shooting doesn't matter too much, and then when we get into the fight, we just obliterate them. I've got no targets for his spiders and bat swarms to take down. In objective play, we've only got 4 fewer models, and we kill his a lot quicker than we kill me, so we can get to those places. Recon, I'm quick, he's reasonably quick. Like, contest is fine. All of the scenarios are really good apart from destroy the supplies, because I have to come to him, and then his bat swarms just come around me. Whereas if I stay on my objectives, then he then just shoots me out. So I have to send up like 4/5 of my army and leave the rest defending the objectives from the bats. And then at that point, it kind of swings slightly, but it's still winnable. But that's the only one where I have to put real brain power into it.
See,
fair enough.
Farmer seem, and I think Jakob was on board with this as well, seem to think it's incredibly good at 650 AOL. Like they're pretty happy with the sweet spot.
I was going to say, I think with sort of like the international sort of like meta, what it seems like in the different areas of the world, I would bet that you guys are probably going to see a lot of AOL. I would.
Yeah, there'll be one of these in every team. If there isn't, I'll be surprised because it's a very good list of 650.
But I mean, compared to, I think it's a good list, but I don't think it's any better than the list we've already seen.
No, I think that's fair. Yeah, I'd put it on par with some of them.
So, yeah, I don't think like it has been in the past. It doesn't stand out among the competitive lists as that extra level up. But obviously, it's still got all the tools. I just always think at 650, how much benefit do you get out of 2 bat swarms and stuff like that?
Jay, how did you feel playing this with something like Isengard? Having used Isengard a lot into AOL, I'm sure. How does the match?
With Isengard, if I get into combat, I absolutely annihilate them, like without question. Honestly, no. I mean, most of the army's D4. If I win a fight, they're dead, right? In theory. Right, but the problem is, if it's a scenario where I've got to deploy quite far back, and if there's a skirmish and shoot me, even with my march, I'm in trouble. My ballista will do pretty much nothing. But once I get there, I'm fine. I think I played 2 AOLs actually at different points level, but at Chippenham, didn't lose either. I think I drew 1-1-1. I think I lost about 5 models, maybe 6 in both games to shooting. Once I got into combat, honestly, like no problems at all. You just protect your heroes, wrap around, so none of that swarms and spiders can do anything or can't get to them. They're transfixed, but that doesn't matter. The troops do the work, right?
Yeah.
My main worry with the list is it is all D4, which means that it does go down very fast if you haven't done the damage with the shooting and stuff like that. Which 16 orc bows, is that it? It's like
16 goblin bows.
Goblin bows, yeah, sorry. Has he got any other shooting?
He's got 6 prowlers and a wild rider with a thrown spear.
But I don't know. I haven't faced it at 650 since the sort of the meta changed and stuff like that a bit. But I mean, Farmer. I put it this way, I also wouldn't be surprised if Farmer went and won with it because it's Farmer and it still is a good list.
Do we think it relies too much on the shooting?
I mean,
I think it's looking for those targets, which I think is why
he still gets a +1 to wound when he outnumbers. I just don't know whether 52 he's going to outnumber enough.
You want to do damage into big targets and stuff, which is why in something like Arnor, you're not going to get the return out of that as much.
I'd be really interested to see this into a Goblin Town list because I don't think I've ever seen an AOL into Goblin Town match, and I think that would be something to watch.
Interesting.
I mean,
I would put my
if it played for Goblin Town, let's say in 3 turns of shooting, how many would it kill? I don't think it'd kill enough to.
No, I mean, in ignoring player skill, I would put my money on Goblin Town more often. Just because like you don't have the reliable killing advantage because
you're not going to outnumber them, so you're not getting your +1 in combat, and you're not getting +1 in shooting, and
you're basically wasting a whole bunch of points because MESBG, Azog, the bat swarms are just, and the spiders are there basically for mobility and might caddy at that point. It's like I could enrage a bat swarm to kill a couple of goblins.
Have fun with that. Okay, I think that is going to do it. We could very well see Dave go on to win the event with this list. Who knows? So we will move on to having a look at the list that we mentioned about earlier. Ben Haslam's.
Go on, Ben.
List.
Go on, Ben.
So quite a spicy one here. It is led by the Dragon Emperor, leading 18 Black Dragons with Pike and Shield. Then he has a second warband led by a Eastling Captain with Shield, who's leading 9 Eastling Warriors with Shield and 1 Cataphract with a War Drum. Then he has a third warband also led by an Eastling Captain with Shield, leading 2 more Easterlings with Shield, 5 with Pike and Shield, and 2 with bow. So it's 40 models on the nose. Love to see that. 2 bows. Also love to see that. Would love to see them be Black Dragons, but I'll let it slide. And 7 might with the 2 captains there. So what do we think on this one?
I think this is fucking brilliant. I love it. I think it's great. I've always said in any list, the troops win the game. And what he's just done here is Dragon Emperor with as many Fight 5 troops as he possibly can. And I think it's going to work really, really well. You've got D6 everywhere. You're incredibly fast. You don't care about shooting. It's beautiful. I love it. I wish I had this. It's great.
So I agree with Jake that troops win the game. But I don't think this list is as good as Jake thinks.
Why, Ali? Tell us.
Because the troops aren't actually as good as I think they are. They're going to be higher fight value, but then apart from that, it's just the D6 Horde, which is good. But it, will only wound Jake's Arnor on 6s, for example. 40 models is the thing it's got going for it, but if something goes wrong, you don't have anything to influence the game.
There used to be a world where you could deal with D6 because I would have 10 Eastling Warriors with Shield at the front, all with axes, but those days are behind us now.
So what I think would be the better version of this list is you go to Eastling captains with the glaives or the halberds or whatever they're called.
Oh, do they not come with them by default?
No, I think you swap the shield, don't you, for them?
No,
right,
I could be wrong.
Two-handed.
Are they two-handed?
With two-handed axes.
But I think you swap it or pay 5 points to swap for a sword and shield.
Sorry, when you take the...
Yeah.
Hold on, let me check.
Because that gives you
I see what you mean, Ali, about it being just troops, but at the same time, it's just a Fight 5 Horde, though. That's tough to break through, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I just don't think it's... I wouldn't put it down as my event winner. It's in contention.
So the Eastling Glaive... Sorry, Jake. The Eastern Captains come with the Eastling Glaive, which is a hand-and-a-half axe, for the 50 points, and then you can just give them a shield for 5 points. You can swap the Glaive for an armoured horse and a sword.
Oh, okay, is that it? So he does still get the glaive.
So yeah, okay. So they can basically go up to.
So he does have the killing power somewhere.
Yeah. So they can go up to fight 5, 2 attacks at strength 5, which
the 6 dice behind them to win the 5.
55 points is taking
pretty insane
value. Yeah. Go on, Jake. You were going to say.
I was going to say it also plays really well into the odes at Ardacon, so even if it's only eking out minor wins, it's a grindy list. It's going to get the maximum TPs in all those situations. So yeah. The only thing I would have considered is maybe taking a few of the pikes off the Black Dragons onto other models, because then you have higher courage on the front for charging. But Ben's played this a lot more than me, and he knows how to play it. So if he's done that, then that's probably the right way to do it.
That was something that I kind of found sometimes. I used to run kind of brawl gear quite a lot. So I'd have the Fury, but then, if I was playing against, say, Ash's Witch King, for example, once that's gone, then having the front rank not be Black Dragons was an issue at times. So, but I have spoken to Ben. I think he just likes taking as many Fight 5 pikes as possible.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. It's a list that does one thing incredibly well, but it doesn't do much else.
Fortunately, most of the scenarios only require you to do one thing, and that's get somewhere and not down.
But that's where you can come unstuck, so is when you need that ability to flex, which you would have in other variations at higher points.
This list doesn't have any kind of way to go out and win you a game sort of thing like a Witch King does, for example.
So are we saying that an army that has a good model count and high defense but does nothing else can't win Ardacon? Is that kind of happened last year?
No, I just think Arnor's better.
Love that, Jake.
Also, player skill.
Ben is a very good player.
Ben's
he's
much
better.
better.
That's why he's on the team.
No, he's on the team so we don't play each other because he knows that 2024 is the year where he keeps on losing to me, whereas 2023 was the year where I kept losing to him.
Changing. It's a Dragon Emperor list. It is still really nice to see it hit the 40 model mark even after the nerf. But I think it's, before it would be 44 or something like that. It'd just be crazy. So that's going to do it for Ben's Dragon Emperor list. We will move on to this, might be the last list we're looking at, which is Adam's Pure Azog's Hunters list.
Who's not in our team, just to clarify.
Who's not in their team, no.
Why is he not in our team? Why
he hasn't won 100.
Okay.
No.
Whoa.
He has podiumed a few hundreds, but
yeah, he got close. To be fair, he would when we were looking for a 9th player, he was one of the names floated. As I think he was.
He would have left Vince though. Those two joined at the hip. There's no way. Shout out to Adam.
Who said we may have invited Vince as well?
Well, you didn't mention that bit, so I was.
I mean, I'm going to go on record saying Vince was not in contention for joining the GHL.
Oh,
Jake with the.
He's the one Gollum's gamer who actually goes back and watches these.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. So Adam's Pure Hunter Orc list is led by Azog on Wild, leading 3 Hunter Orcs, another 6 with Bow, 1 with Banner, 1 with Warhorn, and a Felwarg. Then he has Fimbul on Warg, leading 5 Hunter Orcs, another 6 with Bow, and 1 Felwarg. Yazneg on Felwarg with Lance, leading 7 Hunter Orcs, and another Felwarg. And then a Hunter Orc Captain on foot, leading 5 Hunter Orcs, another 6 with Bow, and 1 Felwarg. So another 48 model list with 20 bows, although they are Orc bows, so do not be deceived by that high number, and 11 mites. So I thought we would hand over to Jake Rawson, first of all, prime Azog's Hunters player, meta setter, as it were. What do you think on this?
Poetic, Elliot.
What a lofty title.
Okay.
I think it's very nice. It's a Hunt Orc list, and Hunt Orc lists always do well in the right hands. There's lots of interesting ways that you can build it at 650 points. You've got really good alliance options. You can take in Goblin Mercenaries, you can take in Warbats from Azog's Legion, but he's not done any of that cool stuff. He's just said, I'm going to put as many hunters down on the field as possible, and good luck killing 48 of them. And to be fair, there's a really good argument for that. They're really good. They put out a lot of damage. They've got a nice sort of almost good quality shooting. I think it's really. I know you shot on the Orc bows a minute ago, and they're not the best, but 20 of them is still pretty good.
It's still good.
It's still better than a lot of list shooting will have at 650.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. You just march up on the first turn and then say, "Cool, I've now probably got 19 bows. Let's go." And it's absolutely fine.
It rarely wins shooting wars if you're facing something else with good shooting. But if you're facing something that doesn't have very good shooting, then
in fact, the list doesn't need to win a shooting war.
No,
it's just good if
yeah.
It's there as it's a tool that you can potentially use.
Yeah, and the heroes for 60 points all do what they do fantastically. Fimbul is probably one of the best value heroes in the game. Yazneg can do work when he needs to. Narzog's a great leader. I'm assuming Narzog's his leader.
Yes.
Yeah. So like it's fine. It does well. It doesn't have a lot of tricks, but doesn't need a lot of tricks in this list. So
also important public announcement. Azog has heroic accuracy as well, doesn't he?
He does, yes.
There we go. If you got that right early in the video, give yourself a like.
And Fimbul also has a bow, which people always forget about.
They do.
But,
with might behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a good list. Good list. And Adam's played Hunt Orcs a lot. He knows how to play them. So yeah.
He does. Jay, how would you feel playing into this with, say, Isengard? Obviously, I think with Goblin Town, Adam would struggle, but with Isengard, would it be closer?
I don't think he would. I think
Goblin Town.
I think
depending on
Goblin Town, I think he'll do.
Obviously, he kills them. Yeah, I just meant like the.
I mean, put it this way: if I put two goblins into one Hunter Orc in base space, obviously I'll have 4 dice to his 2. But if he was a fight, he probably kills 2. He kills 1 in theory, but he kills 2 a turn. I think he'd break me.
He also has a banner and higher fight value.
Yeah, and his troops will just go.
And he can use those 20 bows quite effectively.
Yeah, that's where they get pretty good.
Yeah, agreed. This would destroy me, like without question.
But Isengard, on the other hand, I think Isengard blends through this.
Isengard will destroy it. Yeah, I mean, me and Jake have had quite a few matches where it's been Isengard v your Hunter Orcs, and it's only gone on the whole one way, hasn't it? In most of the games we played. because in shooting, it's 4s by 4s, and in combat, it's just 4s. And anything where I need 4s to wound, it will just melt.
In there.
Not 4s.
The thing about this list, it is 40 plus models, which all have 2 attacks. So even if you do like outfight it in terms of quality, it's just like, oh no, there could be 20 left, and they're still got the same damage output as your army does.
Yeah.
Which is the power of Hunter Orcs.
Yeah, they are very, very good.
Because I think
we've got a fell warg in each warband as well, just for his little objective stuff. Has he got he has got Warhorn in the list. Excellent.
Yeah, Warhorn and a banner.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
How do you think this will do into AOL?
I think it would demolish AOL.
Yeah, Hunter Orcs do. Yeah. Just because you get there quick enough, and then I mean, even if you want to go into a shoot more with them, you absolutely can do, and it's fine. But as soon as you get into fights with them, you just fucking blend through.
And you've got no prime targets again for the
that's the same thing. Yeah. So if you kill Yazaneg, it's like, oh, okay, he's 60 points. Cool. Fine.
Yeah. And the Hunter Orc captain is like legitimately quite blendy as well. 3 attacks, strength 4. Like it's send him into 1 a turn, he'll kill 1 a turn. So
45 points, you can't really complain with the fine. It's pretty good. Okay, any final comments before we move on?
I think he would struggle against your Arnor, Jake.
Yeah, they do.
And if anyone's walking around with dwarves and stuff like that, that tends to be a pain in the ass for hunters because they one up them on every important stat.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Especially Iron Hills are quite tough for them. But,
okay.
But I think it's right at that point level where trying to get a model dwarf list is a little bit difficult. Like obviously it can be done if you do it the right way. But
650. Yeah.
As I don't think we've mentioned, there's so many people going to this event that the amount of GBHL points that are available for coming in like the top 15 is better than winning a 90. So
anything's better than winning a 90.
So just by the fact that there's loads of people playing for every game and oath and trying to finish as high as possible to get you some really serious points. So I'm sure Adam will, even if he gets one unlucky game, will still better go 5-1 and hopefully get the team some mega points.
It's quite conceivable. Me, Jay, Ali, I named myself.
Live in the third person.
Could all give, and Jake for 7th City could all like score big points without even finishing in the top 3 at this event.
Yeah.
It's
conceivable.
It's good. Okay, I think we will leave it there then, and we will move on to have a look at the tier list for this episode. Now, as suggested by one of our viewers in the comment section on a previous video, the bottom three this week has been named the Mordor Orc with Bow.
Can I put a suggestion that we call it Jamie Wiggins?
Jamie Wiggins' car.
I think we've already called the bottom tier Jamie Wiggins before, Ashley.
Yeah, so we can call it his car.
Yeah, it's just such an obvious. Now. It's just such an obvious bottom tier category. Unfortunately, that
I think we might have done it before.
I think we've used it multiple times. But
by the way, when
if there's
Jamie
overwhelming public support, then we'll do it.
When Jamie was in our team, the team was going to be called the GBHL All Stars and Jamie Wiggins.
Well, maybe that makes him a prime, target of the bottom category for next week. Let us know. But for this week, it is the Mordor Orc with Bow. So for the Spotify listeners, how our tier lists work, if you are the best list, you aim to be in our lemon category. That is the very top tier. If you are a good list, you are a lemon list. Then descending down from there, our categories are named Silly Nervous, Nervous, Dog, and then this week, Mordor Orc with Bow. So we will kick things off with Farmer's AOL list.
Can I ask a question? Are we ranking based on the player or the list?
This is always a little bit up in the air on our tier lists. We don't really have a set thing, do we, Ashley?
Let's change it up. Let's rank with player skill this time. Let's make it just that extra bit.
We always say with player skill. We say no. We have said before with the the list being used to its.
I think you tend to use player skill when it's within the same bracket to determine who goes higher.
Oh, okay.
We basically make it up as we go along.
So.
Yeah.
You sort of.
You're more than welcome to just make it up as you want.
Whatever you want,
really.
Cast your vote as you will. So, Farmer's AOL.
Farmer, I'd put in Silly Nervous.
Yeah,
agreed.
Yeah, I concur.
It's got to be, I think, a silly.
This is going to be the quickest list.
These are all the meta lists that we've talked about so many times, so we sort of know. Yeah,
well, mine's not
meta lists. We move on to Ali's Gothmog.
Nervous.
Dog.
I would say top of nervous, probably. I think it's quite good, but it's it's got some limitations.
Ali just putting himself straight in nervous. Love to see it.
I think nervous as well.
That is a nervous review there.
That's a nervous take.
Love it. Okay, moving on. We have Jake's Arnor list.
Lemon.
I mean, it's got to be lemon, right?
It's got to be lemon. He won Ardacon with it last year.
Defending champion, right?
Defending champ.
It has to be. There's no other place to put it.
I think.
But you're all forgetting that I'm taking clubs this year, so that bumps it down a few places.
Maybe it does.
No,
you don't win Ardacon this
year. That's got to go in.
After your
you don't win it, then we know why.
After
your Vince's one
explanation of why you have taken clubs, surely that makes it even better.
Yeah,
true that. We will find out. So moving on, yes, this is Vince's list as it has Ugluk.
Dog.
I would go nervous.
Dog.
Jay goes dog.
Dog.
We were literally discussing how it's not. It's just literally.
Everyone's just shitting on Vince in the team.
I would say nervous, and I would arguably put it around where mine is.
I think your list and the person who's using it is significantly better than this list.
Because you're really going for Vince today.
If you're looking at Isengard in a shell, right, it's far from the best Isengard list that you can have. And then when you look at it on the border scale with all the other lists, I think that makes it an even weaker.
How do you think it will go into the meta? Because I think mine goes really well into about 2/3 of the meta, and then there's 1/3 which it could come undone in.
I think his does worse than that.
Okay.
We've got to remember that throwback to our finale podcast where Vince decided to throw Jake Rawson's list physically into the trash.
He's been waiting 8 months.
So there's a history. Payback.
Yeah.
So Mordor awkward.
Go back and watch that because that was a hilarious moment.
Ash, that is a lovely historical.
I know. Well, that's why. Why do you think Jake's on there roasting Vince? That's why.
Vince bought it on himself.
It's open total.
He never forgave, and he never forgot.
On a side note, I love Vince. He's a lovely guy and he's a lot of fun, but he's shit at list writing.
The Ardacon champ has spoken. Oh shit. Okay. It sounds like there's a consensus. It's maybe going in dog, nervous.
Yeah.
Dog, without question. Dog.
God, Jay's piling in now. When I'm the guy who was defending Vince, it's bad day on the pod.
Let's also not forget he's made the list because of the Wog Riders, which are effectively dogs, right? I think it's only fair we put it in the dog tier.
You're trying to mask your previous hatred that you spilled a moment ago. I like it. We will leave it in dog. Vince is going to be absolutely.
Vince is going to win Ardacon now. That's how it works. Whenever we rank lists terribly,
we're putting him in dog. We spoke about this earlier to try and build him out. Okay.
Double dipping on Jay and ranking him twice.
Now we will move on and put Jay into lemon. No.
I think silly nervous.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's better than AOL. To be fair,
I don't think it is.
I don't. I would put it below AOL.
I think it beats AOL, but I don't think it's better than AOL.
Yeah, that's my feeling.
Fair enough.
Yeah, agreed. I think top of nervous or bottom of silly nervous.
No, it's definitely a silly nervous list.
I think it's silly.
Yeah.
It's the best Isengard list you
but
possibly
remember, Jay's using it, so back down to nervous.
Drops it a bit.
Mordor orc.
Okay, we will move on then to Michael Bradford's Army of Laketown list with Thorin's company.
I think again this is silly nervous, but not as good as AOL or Isengard.
Yeah, I think it's.
I'm feeling nervous personally.
I don't think it's that
high.
I
would say top of nervous above me.
I'm
if you'd gone for my and Jake's preference on the Dwarf Heroes, I'd probably put bottom of silly. But
I was going to say kind of like bottom of silly nervous. I think as well as Ash, I'm not that against it being top. Like just the Laketown.
I feel better top of nervous than bottom of silly nervous.
Let's put it in nervous then.
What do we think about it going into Ali's list?
The thing is, my list can do pretty well into it because I can potentially transfix the master and then just kill him on
Left the troops, yeah.
Freeze on the but that's not necessarily
that's not what we're computing
representation.
Okay, we'll put it in nervous. I'm not against that. Okay. Moving on then to Jay's 87 model Goblin Town list.
Oh,
that's pretty hard.
It's pretty
Is this
lemon,
with or without mercenaries?
So I've just made the mercenary list actually just for your guys' reference, and it does drop it down. It does drop it down to 82 models. 82, and that's the Goblin Mercenary Captain with 6 Goblin Mercenaries, and then 11 in the Scribes Warband.
Now, Jake, I believe you were on record saying you would never take more than 3 or maybe 4. You said mercenaries in the Goblin Mercs Warband.
No, I said I would either take 2 or a full warband. I would never take in between.
We go to VAR and check.
You say you got 6 in the warband, Jay?
Yeah, I don't have a choice because of the way the points are. All the other warbands are full.
The
Goblin Scribe can take 1 more, but then I'm left with effectively 15 points spare.
Big question is, do you still have to go with a 2-handed weapon?
Take 12.
No, I don't have the 2-handed guy.
Okay, it's in dog then.
Can the Scribe only take 12?
Yeah, he's a minor normally.
Yeah. Okay, sure.
12, which is why. Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
you sort of have to.
And is that dead on 650?
Yeah, dead on. 82.
Yeah, I'd still put that in lemon. It was my second or third choice for a list. I think it's very good.
So you're biased, so we eliminate your opinion.
Yeah. I
would go silly nervous, and I'm.
Yeah, I don't think it's lemon.
I don't either, personally.
It does have a couple of things it will trip up on, which I don't think Arnor does have.
Yeah.
So I don't think it'd be in the same category.
Yeah. Whereabouts in silly nervous do we put it then?
Is it better than AOL?
I think it's worse than AOL and Isengard, just for all-round balance.
I think it's more likely to do better, though.
I think it's going to do better than both, yeah.
I also think it's probably top of silly nervous.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there consensus on that, it seems? Jake wanted it in lemon?
By consensus, you mean Ash and Jake, and not Jay.
Yeah.
Where do you want it, Ali? You tell me.
Yeah, go there.
Okay, we will leave it there.
Oh, he made all that fuss.
Yeah, I'm great at making fuss.
We will leave it there. We will move on to Ben's Dragon Emperor list.
Lemon!
Jake will tell us what this goes. There we go. Lemon.
Above Arnor!
Yeah, it's definitely not above Arnor, but I think it could be
below Arnor. I think.
Yeah, in lemon below Arnor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
40 model 650 is pretty nice. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then finally, Adam's Huntrock list.
I would sandwich this between
Lake Town on your list. Oh.
No, I think it's silly nervous.
I was going similar to you, Jay. I was going in the middle of Lake Town and
in between Lake Town and your Mordor list, Sally. That's my thought.
48 Hunter Orcs is really good. That's really good.
Yeah, but it's not as good as any of the lists.
Thing is, I look at it and I compare it to half of those lists, and I generally think it can beat a lot of them.
It isn't a really top of silly nervous list, but I don't think 4800.
Thing is, I think it would beat Goblin Town. I think it would beat AOL, and I think it would probably beat the Lake Town as well. It may not be the Lake Town.
Right?
Cast your thoughts here
as the expert Hunter Orc.
Yeah, what are you
thinking? I don't know. I would feel comfortable putting it somewhere at the because it's not the way I would build the list. It's not massively different as it is with Adam playing it, who's very good at it. I would feel comfortable anywhere between mid silly nervous to top of nervous.
Yeah, so I was going to put it between AOL and Isengard.
So I would happily put it there.
Yeah. I don't think it's as good as Isengard.
Happily put it there, but I don't think it's by any means.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think it's more reliable than Isengard, and for me, that would put it above it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's probably better than Isengard.
There are arguments for both. Do you want to put it above?
But the problem is, it also kicks the shit out of AOL.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like AOL's too high.
It's just moving higher and higher. I think they're all sort of in a very close-knit sort of group there, and then depending on the scenario, kind of will be fairly interchangeable.
So I think the only two lists that will beat all the others are the ones that we've got on 11, like on paper.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Yeah,
and then all silly nervous.
Agreed.
It depends on the matchup scenario and player.
Yeah. Okay, I think that is going to do it. So that brings us to the end of the tier list. So that is going to close out this episode. So best of luck to obviously you guys here that are going to Ardacon this weekend. Bring home some points for your respective teams. Not Jake though, because of sensitivity. So, have you won 200s already though?
No, I'm fully embracing the title of has-been this year.
Yeah, I sent him the invitation to the club. Members are me, Will, Jay, Claire. Ed's making an application to leave.
Are you in the
club
100 club this year?
Well, I think there's 12 GBHL 100s this year, and it's had 11 different winners. Like, it's anyone's game at the minute. It's mental.
It's weird. It goes like this. 1 year it would just be like a race between two people, and then the next year it's like
I'm calling it right now.
Like
James Goble is going to win the league.
He is totally going to win the league.
I think he's currently 4th. To be fair,
you're willing to put money on
he's that high up. Fucking took me by surprise. Jesus Christ! But he is very good at the game, and he's he builds this really well. So yeah, but he just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. He builds like 2 lists really well.
2 lists. 2 lists. He also loves a Cave Drake.
You mean the double Cave Drake Balrog list?
Yeah,
that's right.
Which you'll be seeing on the channel very soon. Make sure you're subscribed to. Make sure you don't miss that.
So exciting. Is there any way that anybody who would be interested in Ardacon to track the event, sort of how Longshanks does it?
You can go on
Longshanks next year.
Ardacon.
We're not sponsored.
Yeah, Tawny.
I know, but the Tawny app is kind of difficult to navigate.
It's because it's not an app.
The website then.
I can leave the link.
It's like updated rankings or
to see how it's going, so people, if they're interested, could watch or just.
I think it would just be there is a scoreboard. I think I saw like on there. Yeah. It's like click here for a scoreboard.
It will also depend on whether the organisers are having it on public display or not. Because some years they have, other years they haven't.
Oh, okay.
I can leave a link to it.
I mean, you can just assume we're all winning, and then it's just going to come down to VP difference between the GWHL All-Stars.
But the people who are very interested in Ardacon will be following the Gollum's Gamers on Instagram, and then they will see all the updates.
Yeah, we'll just be me and Jay sending a picture of our face at random intervals.
That is the exclusive content that you can get over there. So check it out in the description. So that's going to close out. Thank you very much to Jake for joining us on this episode.
My pleasure.
Best of luck this weekend. And to any of our listeners, obviously, be sure to say hi to the guys if you see them at the event. So that is going to do it. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching another episode of the Gollum's Gamers podcast.
Cheerio.